start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York.
Well, it's a rainy Tuesday morning. We were hoping to be outside this morning. I'm over at the Clausen's house, Fred and Maureen. They live at 67 Fox Crossing.
That's right.
Over in Long Bay. It's a gorgeous house. How long have you called this home?
Just over 12 years.
Yeah.
But we had places in Southdown, which is our kind of sister community. You
Yep.
would have driven through that. We bought a place as a vacation place in 1989 there. And then when I permanently moved up here, we had bought Proctor's, Fred was running it, I was still in Massachusetts working. And when I permanently moved up here in 2003, we bought another place up by the gate in, what was the name of that?
Fields Crossing.
Fields Crossing.
Okay,
This is
yep.
Fox Crossing, but that's Fields Crossing.
So this is our third place.
So this is our third
the community.
place.
In this community, yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
a,
We love
it's a
it.
lovely, a lot of church members from the Gilford Community Church live here.
Yes.
Yes. We were thinking this morning, we can count on more than one hand, I think,
Yeah.
how many
Yeah.
are in here.
So where in Massachusetts did you live?
Medfield,
Okay.
which is
Metro
southwest of
West.
Boston,
Yeah.
near Westwood, Norwood,
Yep.
kind of in that pocket.
Dover, Walpole.
Yeah.
And are you both from Massachusetts?
Well, I was born there, but moved to Long Island when I was 7. My
Okay.
father was transferred. So I really grew up on Long Island in New York.
And how about you, Fred?
Born in the Bronx.
Okay.
My dad was in the hotel business, and we moved East Coast to West Coast for the first 10 years of my life, and then ended up in New Jersey. And then since we've been married, we've lived in, I think, 5 states all over the New England area.
Ah.
So this is home as far as I'm concerned.
And are you a Yankee or a Red Sox fan?
I'm probably still a Philadelphia Philly fan from way back.
Okay.
But no, I'm a Red Sox fan if I have my choice of those two. So
Steve Carlton, big fan of Steve Carlton?
yes, now you're going way back.
And how about you? Did you have any allegiance to a team?
No, not really. I mean, when the Sox are winning, I'm all for them.
Yeah.
And the Patriots, but I don't really watch games unless there's a vested interest in it, like a pennant or a ring.
Where we lived in Massachusetts, when it was game day, we could hear the crowds in Medfield coming over, from the stadium,
Gillette Stadium.
from Gillette Stadium.
Wow. Yeah, we were that close, and if the wind was right, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could
Might
hear
not be
them.
so much noise there this year.
Yes, yeah. Are they going to play? I think so.
I think they're trying to play, but then, without Brady and all that whole stuff. So
Who knows?
I know. What's going on there?
So how did you connect with Proctor and buy the Proctor property?
Well, I worked for an insurance company for 25 years.
Okay, what
and
insurance company?
Chubb Life, which was down in Concord, New Hampshire, but I was in their employee benefits department, and I traveled all over the East Coast, and I think it was in 4 different offices. And I always knew that I wanted to get into the hospitality business because my brother and my father were in it. My father all his life, and really my brother all his life. So when I knew the company was winding down in our division, I started looking around up here. We had a summer place in Southdown, and I contacted a lot of people, and for 3 years?
At least.
I was sending letters out, and so I had probably 4 or 5 places fall through that I really fell in love with and got my heart broken each time. And then when Proctor's came up, I decided I wouldn't look at it, but then I said, I want to. And then the rest is history. We made an offer in '98 and to close in '99, which the owner, Jean, was very happy. It gave her a chance to say goodbye to her guests and gave us a chance to build up to it. So
Yeah.
best decision I think I ever made.
Yeah.
Besides Marion.
Yes, okay, thank you.
That was
Best business decision.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good way of putting it.
Yes. Yes.
And how many? 13 units? How many units were there?
When we bought it, it had 20, and we did a lot of remodeling, and it ended up with 18 units.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 22,
22.
and down to
And
20
down to
units.
20.
Okay.
So,
And then I think I read recently, or a year or so ago, that maybe they were converted to condos and sold?
yes, we started that project really 12 years ago, and we kept putting it off for the right timing of the market. And then our son Patrick, who's been running it, decided that he needed a life of a family man instead of a business owner at his age. So we started marketing it back in July, and
Of 19.
of 19. And as of today, all the cottages are sold. The only thing left to sell is the main house, which went on the market
About 2 weeks
two
ago.
weeks ago. And there's been a lot of showings, and then we are going to fully retire
Ah,
for the second time.
awesome. And what is Patrick now doing?
Little of everything. We bought some other property. He's managing that, and he's still running proctors for the unclosed units. There's 2 that are unclosed. He's renting them, and then some of the people who bought want to rent out this season before they move in next season. So we worked out a split, and he's been working renting with them. And he's the property manager. He's doing 95% of the work there. Yeah, I'm there in name only at this point.
He's been wonderful. We couldn't have done all that we've done in the last year
Oh, that's great.
without him. You know, he's young, he's smart, energetic,
Ambitious.
all the things that.
We used to be.
Exactly. He got it somewhere from us, I guess.
Patrick and Gladys moved to Labonte Farm in Gilford, beautiful
Yeah.
house.
Yes.
And they moved from where in Massachusetts?
Holliston.
Holliston, Mass.
Okay,
Yeah.
Holliston, Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many years ago did they move into Gilford?
I think 5. I think
5.
it was like July of 15.
Okay. So you have a daughter,
We do.
and where does she live?
She lives down in Massachusetts in Wayland.
Okay. And does she have a relationship partner?
She does have a significant other, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
We think
David,
serious.
yep.
Yep. And
Excellent.
his name is David. Her name is Kate. And they're in Wayland.
And then Patrick and Gladys have how many children?
3 children.
Okay.
Charles, Lee,
Liam, and Monica.
Monica.
Okay. And what are their ages?
Just turned, they all just had birthdays, 11, 9, and 7.
Okay. I saw your little granddaughter riding up Labonte Hill, which is that's a big hill.
That's a
Yes.
hill.
That's like Mount Washington-esque in terms of the percentage grade.
Right. Yeah, she's something. You know, she's got 2 older brothers, so
Yeah,
she's used to keeping up with them and showing them up a little bit, I think. So,
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
them walking with Gladys quite often.
yes.
And they ride their bikes to school during the school year, so they
Yeah, of course,
become
this
very
year they
accustomed
did.
to it. Yeah, this year
Yeah.
they didn't, but
Yeah, they have that one Hoyt that they've got
yeah,
to
I
be
got to
careful.
cross over.
Yeah, that's kind of dangerous little
Yes,
intersection
so
there with
they-
the curves and everything.
Yes, and people late for work and everything, so, you know, I'm always happy when it's 9 o'clock in the morning and I haven't heard anything.
And what's the dog's name?
Pickle.
Pickle.
Because
Clausen pickle.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing to kind of keep your sense somewhat sane?
Well, as I mentioned before we started, you had said last weekend you're an introvert. I'm an introvert. So I really haven't found this terribly difficult.
Yeah. That's not bad, is it?
It's not so bad. It's like, oh, we can't do that. Oh, well. Oh, we can't go there. Oh, well. So reading, some gardening.
What do you like to read?
Well, I just finished Eleanor Oliphant is Perfectly Fine. It was very good. And I'm a slow reader, which is also another problem of mine. So right now I'm reading The Mother-in-Law, which someone had recommended, and it's good.
Who wrote that?
You know, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll have to look. It's on Kindle, and on Kindle, you know, you're
Yeah,
not
I
seeing
read all
the
my
cover
books
of
on
the
Kindle
book.
too, and it's so easy not to pay attention to who's writing the books.
Right, and you look it up, buy it,
Yep.
and never think about it again.
Yep.
But I do like some philosophy. I love John O'Donohue. Right now I'm listening to Richard Rohr. Are you familiar
Yep.
with
Yeah,
him?
he's a Franciscan priest, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, I've read a lot of his stuff. He's very good.
Yeah, and I haven't read any, but I'm listening to podcasts, which he's done, and really enjoying that. And
And John O'Donohue, I think, was an Irish poet.
yes,
I think he died a few years
poet.
ago.
He did. He
Yeah.
died very unexpectedly. I think in 2008. He was only like 54 or 56 years old, died in his sleep. And but he's got, you've probably read some of his books. He also has a wonderful podcast where you hear his voice.
And a great voice, yeah.
Wonderful voice, yeah. So,
And how about you, Fred?
I'm just the opposite. I guess I'm not an introvert, according to the Myers-Briggs.
what did you come out an extrovert?
yeah, I think so, but then
yes,
just-
we knew you would. Yeah.
I've always been a doer and a mover. I'm not especially a reader. I'm an eBay addict. I've had, since eBay's been out a little over 20 years, probably 25,000 transactions buying and selling.
Wow.
Luckily, most of them have
More
been
than 1,000 a
selling.
year.
I used to collect toy cars. You and I talked about Hot Wheels and Matchbox one day. I, at one point, had 15,000 toy cars, and most of them are gone. And now I collect model boats. So that's been very good for me during the pandemic. And sales are up. But I also collect memorabilia of the lakes regions. I'm considered an expert on cottage colonies around the lake.
Okay.
I've given presentations on it. I just love the history of the lake. For me, everything is about boating, lakes, the lakes region. That drives my interest. That's why I ended up with the cottages up here.
He's never bored. He has never said, "Oh, I've got nothing to do." Whereas I'm not bored, but maybe I'm just staring into space more than he is.
And how did you kind of connect with the Gilford Community Church?
We were trying to remember that. The first time I was there, we were there, was
For a
for Mark Goodwin's
Goodwin
funeral.
passed away, yes.
Yeah, so how long ago
That's
would that
10,
have been?
12 years.
10?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That was a sad one. He was a young man. Of course, Marilyn comes, and her granddaughter Riley works at the youth center's summer camp program.
oh, she does?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Marilyn's a very good friend of ours. We've known her probably the whole 20-some years we've
We
been
knew
up
her
here.
husband.
Yeah, Al, and we know Paul, so that's why we went to the service.
Great family.
Mark used to put our docks in over at Proctor's every year, and he was out in the deep water, and he was still sticking halfway out of the water. He was just so tall and so strong at doing the docks. So that's how we started. That's what. But we sat up where the choir is. It was an overflow
Yeah, was
church.
that before it was changed?
No, it was in the new sanctuary. I'm pretty sure. We opened that in about 2009, 2010.
Okay.
But I do remember the sanctuary being full.
Yeah.
And so the extra seating
Yeah.
was up there, and
Because the old sanctuary, the capacity would have been under 200. The new one is close to 400.
Wow.
So
Okay.
if
Nice.
Mark had died then, we would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
yeah, there wouldn't have
Yeah.
been room at the
He's
end.
a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I assume you did the service
Yes.
for him. The thing I remember was his friend coming up the aisle
Oh.
and tripping intentionally. Come to
Marilyn
find out.
told us.
And then spoke. So that was, and we had never been to Gilford Village before.
Yeah.
Ah,
So we saw the library for the first time, the
Yep.
church, the little general store, which is now, what's it called?
the village store.
The village.
Oh, the village store. Yeah. And it's charming. Little did we know that
Yeah, we'd end up.
our son and family would be living over there and so forth.
Yeah.
And then, well, I was raised Catholic, 16 years of Catholic school.
I had 8, but
Yeah. And, it was great. I got a great education from the nuns. I had all nuns. They were a bit harsh at times, I have to say, looking back. Unnecessarily harsh, I think, for me anyway. But when the family moved here, Gladys had heard about your church, and so I said, well, let's go. And we went, and it was wonderful. I loved it right from the beginning. And we had the first time we had communion there, I think I mentioned it to you on the way out. We took the communion, I right away put it in my mouth, and then everybody else got it, and you said, okay, now. And Gladys and I looked at each other like, uh-oh. So, but no, I love the church, and I love your sermons.
Yep.
I love the architecture of it, the lightness of it, the friendliness of it.
yeah.
It's-
I love the big open window,
Yeah.
Yes.
which reminds us that there's a whole world out there and a lot of goodness.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's right there.
Yeah.
It's just on the other side, and it's inside too. So yeah, it's a beautiful church, and people are lovely and very welcoming. And I know I have mentioned it to several people. I've gotten a few of them to come, like my friend Linda now comes and,
Yes.
and really loves it, and so can't wait to get back. I did hear this morning your little talk that it's not going to open right away.
Yeah, we had toyed with the idea of doing something in the youth center next Sunday, And then with, the surges throughout the country, even though New Hampshire has been very safe, churches really have been hotbeds for some of the spreading.
Yes.
And especially our summer population at church is more older, it's my age and older.
Right.
And it just seems like since things are going fairly well, it's best to err on the safe side.
I do agree. And listing all the things that would have to be done in one door, out the other. You have to know who has set where and keep all those records for a month. That would be difficult. I'm a little nervous about Bike Week. So many people coming in.
I know. I can't believe they rescheduled that.
I know.
And even was confirmed, yesterday or
Well,
a
I
couple
guess at
days?
City Council
Meeting, they still want to have
They're
it.
going to have it. So I wonder how many masks we'll see and how much social distancing. So I hope it doesn't bring
Stuff in.
Right.
when we've all been so careful and so
That's
good.
my huge concern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've mentioned a couple times to different people that, a month ago, almost everyone I saw at the store was wearing a mask, and every week
Less and
you
less.
see more and more people not wearing them.
Yes.
And I always mutter words I shouldn't mutter. I feel safe to mutter them because I have my mask on.
Exactly.
They hear me say,
Exactly.
We go in the stores, we wear them all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
one lady, I don't want to reveal this person's name, but she showed up at an event that I was involved with, didn't have her mask on. I said, you need to put a mask on. She said, well, I'm not worried about catching that bug. And I said, well, I'm worried about catching something from you. Put it on.
Yes.
It's the thoughtful thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
That's
the smart thing and thoughtful thing. Yeah, definitely.
Although it is hard to imagine 5 months ago if someone had told you, when you go to Hannaford's, you're going to have to wear a mask and you're going to wipe off your cart, you can't bring in your reusable bags.
Yeah.
You would say, what planet are you living on?
Right. I've thought of that. Like if you went back a year and could see now,
things change.
it would be so strange.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, there was a
is.
story in the paper you might have seen maybe a month or two ago. A man had done a 90-day silent retreat. Started, I think, in March, so right before all this broke out in our area. And he came out 90 days later, we're in the middle of this, he said, did I miss anything?
Not really. Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
And I'm non-Catholic. I was raised Lutheran, and my grandfather was a Lutheran minister in North Carolina and up in Canada at Waterloo Seminary. His name also was Fred Clausen. My father's name was Fred Clausen, but I'm not a third or a second. I'm spelled differently. But raised very close to the Lutheran Church, but still much prefer going to hear you and part of your church.
Yeah, it's a great little place, and Carolyn with the
great.
music.
Oh,
Yes,
the
Harold's great.
music.
Yeah,
It's so beautiful.
and
Yeah.
the choir, and we always see Warren there.
And
I
I
love
think,
Warren.
we're a relatively small church in the middle of New Hampshire, and the musical talent that we have,
Yeah.
like, it boggles my mind.
Yes.
And and how generous that all the musicians are and the singers are with their time.
Yeah. I think of that. How much time during the week goes into
Yeah.
all of this? That we,
Yeah, a group of people were working with Carolyn last night for a couple of hours on a Monday night, and then they'll be back on Wednesday taping music for Sunday service. It's just,
It's
that's
wonderful.
remarkable.
Yeah.
We knew Mark, for a couple of years since he's been here, but we didn't know he was in the choir, and all of a sudden one day we're there, and then
Is that Mark Bodenstown?
Yes,
Yeah.
so it was a nice addition to the choir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What a great family, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're so lucky to have them connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're great. We do water aerobics usually with
Yeah.
them in the summer, but I don't think we're doing that this
Yeah,
year. Or
this
some people are. I opted out.
Where do you do that?
Another plus. Coronavirus. Right, there's a pool
The
here.
community
Oh,
pool,
okay.
right, a
So-
small one, so doesn't hold a lot of people.
Yeah,
but,
it would be
that's
hard to social distance
Yeah.
in there, so.
Yeah.
Oh, well, can't do that.
Well, I just hope you have a great day. I appreciate you opening your house and let me come on over
Sure.
this morning.
Oh,
It's a
we're so glad you
pleasure to see
came.
you.
It was
Yeah.
a treat, a definite treat to see you in person and be together.
Yeah, and as an introvert, the nice things about these visits is they come quickly to an end.
And then they're over. That's my mantra. And then it's,
And then they're over.
it's over.
This too shall pass.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas my saying is perseverance, again, just the opposite of Maureen.
Yeah. Drive through, get going, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep laughing, Stay safe and
Thank
be
you.
well.
You
Thank you.
too, and
Thank you very
please give
much,
our
Michael.
best to Cindy.
I will do that.
She's such a
Yes.
sweetheart,
Yeah,
and
she
she has
sure
a
is.
beautiful voice.
Oh,
Oh
she
my
does.
goodness!
Yeah.
And I saw her. Did you make those planters? Those multicolored planters?
Well, Cindy and I put them together,
Okay.
and then she painted them.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
I'll have to drive by. Are the flowers coming over that fence?
I don't think there's flowers in the planters. I think there's cauliflower and some
Oh.
beans and peas. But we have some new flower boxes under our windows.
Oh, okay. Okay.
so-
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very colorful.
I'll take a look the next time I'm over there.
Yeah. Next time you are, just stop by.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Okay. Well, take care.
Okay, thank
You
you very much,
too.
Michael.